you've participated based on the survey that I received, that we looked at. And please let us know who you are, who you're with, and your experience.
Yeah,
Good
I'm
and
Michelle.
bad.
Michelle Jonas. I'm the marketing manager for Day Automation. We provide security, building automation, data infrastructure, and network or energy performance contracting for mostly primarily K-12 school districts. So a lot of our trade shows are New York based, the New York State Superintendents, Facilities, Buildings and Grounds, and currently right now we have the School Board Conference. All of them are obviously switched to digital. The superintendent's one didn't even offer anything for vendors this year. They just stuck to programming. So there was no even opportunity to do a virtual display. The superintendents of facilities, they did a virtual exhibit hall using vFairs.
Using what?
vFairs as their platform.
Okay, yeah.
It was a pretty easy platform to get around. You could upload different assets. They had different types of standard booth spaces you could design and things like that. And then the interaction within the day, yes, you had to be on your computer, but you could initiate chats with other participants.
Okay. So
so overall, not bad for the first virtual experience. Right now is currently the school board's one, where I'm not I think they're using PSAV.
Okay.
And that's a really different experience for us today. Let's just say I've been monitoring it since 8 a.m. this morning, and we've had 33 visitors, but no one has actively engaged with us.
Okay. All right.
So, and
Okay.
I have 2 more coming up with totally different platforms.
Yes. Now, any of the platforms, did they offer you places to put landing pages like videos, marketing material?
Yeah, so far with all of them, we can post different videos, post PDFs, post links to our websites or anything like that.
Okay, and videos, as you said, videos, and
yes,
the opportunity to chat as well.
Yes.
Okay, and do the attendees take this opportunity to chat with your people?
Some of them have, some of them have not. And like the one we're currently in today, like the attendees are on one platform, and then the chat and function in the booth is a different platform. So it's kind of
that
awkward.
Makes it, yes, I would imagine it does. Yes. Okay. And Margaret, have you participated in anything? Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, Francie. Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret Colopy. I'm with Bureau Veritas. We are a consumer product testing and inspection company. So far this year, we've really only participated in more conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't done any, kind of larger events where there are virtual booths. So in terms of the conferences and those opportunities that we've had, it's been more just simply providing assets, like a PDF download,
Right.
maybe a link to our websites, and so it's pretty minimal what we're able to provide them and share. But I know, kind of looking to next year, I think I'm interested in, for today is kind of learning what are the, some of the effective ways to participate in a virtual booth, or even just some good tips and, some best practices of what people have learned so far this year.
Right.
We're looking at all of our, we spend a lot of money on event sponsorships, and it's just so different now. We don't have the face-to-face, and for us, shows are really about engaging with our current clients.
Right.
Those face-to-face meetings, the dinners, those type of things that kind of happen around events. So it's really hard to kind of justify those investments now, because that's not happening. So
right. Well, it's a different world for everyone, for all of us, and as I said earlier, everyone is learning day by day. Jamie, as APA Solutions, can you join us and tell us who you are and about your experiences?
Hi, yes, I'm Jamie Hager. I'm the marketing and event specialist for APA Solutions. And actually, our president and CEO, Joan Gracie, will probably be joining soon. She had a meeting to attend to, but I think she'll be joining.
Okay.
And basically, so we're one of the only brain-based organizations in the United States and Canada. So we do a lot of professional development training and coaching. And obviously, after COVID hit, we had to make all our training virtual. So we do a lot of webinars and stuff like that. And that's a way that we generate leads, but a lot of cold leads, like trying to get new people interested and invested in our training. But also, we are the parent organization of Be Your Own Hero, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to bridging the talent shortage gap between kids, young professionals, and the skilled trades. So we connect education to employment. And actually, right after COVID hit, we were supposed to have 2 jobs in construction and a jobs in manufacturing job fair. So we're trying to figure out how to make those job fairs virtual and keep connecting our employers who have sponsored us and the students and young professionals. How do we keep connecting them to the jobs that they want and need and the open positions, everything like that. So figuring out how to do that basically virtually.
Okay, all right. So you actually haven't participated as of now in exhibiting at a show or?
Yeah, never at a show, just our own like webinars that we host and stuff like
Okay.
that.
All right. And then we have Lori. Lori Mahoney's here with us. Do I see Lori? Did we lose her?
No, she's still here.
She's still here?
Again.
Lori, can you hear me? No? Okay. Well, we'll come back.
Francine,
Yes. Hi.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
I'm really just a listening participant.
That's okay.
Really
That's
do
okay.
Trade shows and stuff like that, but it is interesting to hear sort of the return on investment, because as you know, Thursday night we're going to be doing,
Yes.
I'm trying to find I can't multitask anymore as I get older.
Lori, tell us who you're with.
So I'm with Junior Achievement of Western New York. I'm the president for the organization, and we're doing a virtual centennial. Actually, we turned 100 years old, and we're having a virtual centennial gala on Thursday night. So it's not for fundraising. That's not its intent. It's really about celebrating 100 years as an organization and honoring the businesses and teachers and volunteers that have helped us to get to where we are. So it's a little bit different. So we're not really measuring a return on investment in that way, but it is a brand awareness event for us. Absolutely. So it's interesting to hear about some of the return on investment and to understand that it's not going to be the same. So I think sometimes we have expectations, and then when they don't turn out, we feel like we didn't do a good job, but it really isn't about that. This is a whole new way for people to do things, and one-on-one is never going to be, nothing's going to take the place of a one-on-one relationship with somebody and being in person. But obviously we needed to do things differently, so we are, and it'll be interesting to see how once things go back to normal, we can keep some of what we're learning now and bring it in to the in-person again. I don't know that it'll go away completely. And I know we're not expecting it to, but maybe it helps to add another dimension to our businesses in the future, along with the in-person.
Thank you. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for your insight into this. So some of the things that we want to discuss, do we have anyone else? No, we were good here. So as some of you who have participated in trade shows and the ones who have not, but you've heard so far that the show organizers, as I mentioned before, offer different platforms, just from landing pages to cartoon type displays that you customize with your contents to more exotic offerings now. And the position of your visibility depends a lot on sponsorship, the cost of the space that you purchased, and how you're preparing yourself for that show. Now, you have to be very well prepared when you do a virtual exhibit where you participate in a virtual show, which is pretty much the same thing as a face-to-face show. And some of the organizers now are allowing you to have a page where there's a link to a web-hosted virtual display, your own web-hosted virtual display. And Bill, in a little bit, will show you some of the examples of that. And what we are suggesting to clients right now is that when you do, if you're going to use the exhibitors, the organizer's landing page, is to glamorize it as much as you possibly can. You have to be very well prepared with your downloaded material and contents. And actually the contents that we suggest that you put on that landing page should be totally different from what you're showing on your website, because then what's the point? So you have to show something that's a little different and a little more glamorized and a little more exciting than what you have on your website. And videos are extremely important, not just demo of a product, but of somebody speaking to the attendee, so that the attendees can actually feel connected with you, an exhibitor. Now, the actual virtual display is a totally different concept from the landing page. It's your own display where the attendee can actually walk through the display, have different hotspots, and connect with those hotspots, which offer either demo activity, chats with the exhibitor, a conference area, a place to meet, a networking area. So there's a lot of variations and a lot of different steps and different levels of money, just like a regular display. So based on that, when we talk about a virtual booth, the actual description of a virtual booth is a space within a larger virtual event. The aim is to generate meaningful conversations with attendees. The conversations can be instant, a contact form, or simply a link to more at a later date. Your virtual booth should host live discussions and demos, and that's what will attract attendees, because everybody is hungry for human contact and having conversation, and just not look at a cartoon-like display or landing page where they can download material about your business. People want to talk to somebody. So like any type of show, it's live, and especially now, pre-show and at-show marketing is more important than ever. You cannot rely on just a beautiful display that sometimes we did in live event when you had the exhibitor and the people working in the booth almost trip people going down the aisle, or shaking someone's hand, or recognizing someone they know. Your pre-show marketing and at-show marketing is extremely important. You need to use constantly social media during the show to keep attendees aware of your presence at the show, between Twitter and Instagram, and posting stuff on LinkedIn that you're at the show. Come and see us, posting a photo of your actual booth, your live booth that may not be at the show, but at least to show that you're at the show, keeping in constant communication with the show attendees. Now, you know that virtual exhibiting is done right. It's not less expensive than live exhibiting. What you're saving on meals, travel, hotels, drayage, shipping should all be applied to getting a better spot on the exhibit floor, or for sponsorship opportunities and seminars, and more valuable hotspots on your virtual display. So when you look at your budget and you look at last year's budget and you look at everything you spent on shipping and all of the travel expenses and the meals and everything else, have a look at that and have a look at your ROI, and then see where you can apply maybe some of that money to making your presence at the virtual trade show much more noticeable, much more inviting, and so that the attendees will want to stop and see you. Your virtual content should vary from existing marketing tools. So you can download those at the very last minute. So you can always be working on improving your contents and creating something new, so that even at the last minute of the show before it opens, you have something very current to offer to the attendees. And as a sponsor, you normally, depending on the show, can receive a list of the registered attendees so that you can start doing your pre-show marketing or your in-show, during show marketing, and keep in contact with them. The next step is the staff at the booth. And I've heard people talk about having to sit there at a desk during virtual displays and for 8 hours waiting for someone to approach them or talk to them. And that is, I understand, very boring. So one of the things that we've learned is to create short shifts for your people, and so that they're not sitting there all the time. That's one of the things that was successful for one of our clients. And also your staff should be very comfortable with digital communication and video conferencing. If you have someone whose comfort level is strictly face-to-face and shaking hands, it's going to be a major adjustment to do a virtual show. So you should have someone who's much more comfortable in that arena so that they can engage more readily with the attendees. And also your staff should be doing pre-booking before the show, and just like a regular show or live show, you have to make sure that people will stop at your booth. And it's important that the message that you craft and the way you position your logo and the way you design your marketing material will cut through the clutter, because as we know, there's an amazing amount of clutter at a virtual show. So before we go on to the next thing, where we're going to do a few things, talk about lead capturing, Bill is going to walk us through a few virtual exhibits and an actual virtual show that we've attended, or at least a demo of it. Okay, Bill, are you good?
Okay, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
And then we can have some question and answers.
Okay. The first thing we'll look at is we attended a virtual small business expo nationwide, and they had their own 3D booths, exhibit hall for everyone to partake in. So let me share my screen so you can see this. Okay, can everyone see this video?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Everybody else? Oh, you're
Yep.
all, yeah, okay, good.
So as you can see, this holiday provided, they had preset booths that you could fill in with your information. As you can see, as they're scrolling through, these booths are not arranged alphabetically by product. They're based on their sponsors. You know, it's about people paying for premium prices. But you can see in here, all this stuff is customized with colors, with logos, with content, but each booth will also look the same.
Yes.
Let's jump out of this one. So that approach, which is something that's provided by your show, allows for more interaction, a little bit more style, but very cookie cutter.
Okay, can you go back to the exhibit hall on that?
Definitely.
Yes. And everyone, you've noticed, oh, we'll go back to Bill after this, how we both have a background behind us with the name of the company. So if you're going to have some interaction with your salespeople, make sure that if they're in an office and it's actually video, that there is some identity behind them to market and to brand your business. So this is the exhibit hall, and you can see on the left the menu that shows the agenda, the exhibit hall, the workshop, the keynote theater. For a small business, we thought it was extremely well organized. And the moment that we approach, Bill, could you go back to the list of exhibitors? And the moment we approached one of the exhibitors, somebody came up and said, "This is so-and-so from such a company. How can we chat? What can we do for you? Would you like to see a demo of our product? There are any questions we can answer?" So it was extremely interactive. And although these are like cartoon-like displays, it still affords a little better landing page. It's a little more interesting than just a plain landing page and just a plain logo. Now, I'd like to hear from somebody here. Have you, anyone, participated in this show which offered this option? Darlene or Michelle?
Yes, I have one that was similar to that.
It was. And did you
Yes.
take advantage of it?
Yes.
And did it make a difference between that and some of the other shows that?
Yeah, because I mean, I've done the one like this, and then the other one is more of a landing page, and
Right.
the one that has more of the cartoony booth layout that people sort of walk through, I guess, the
Right.
exhibit area was much more productive for us
So
and
there,
engaging than the one we're currently doing, where it's just a landing page.
okay. All right. Thank you. Okay.
It's
Any
Darlene.
questions? Any questions on this?
Can you hear me, Francine?
Yes, I can, Darlene. Yes,
All 5 of the shows that I did were like this, where I
they
could
were. Okay.
upload video, brochures. Some of them were a little more involved than others.
And did they offer you a display like this that you could choose from?
Yes, I had a choice of how I might want to, there were several different kinds of booths, and but I was responsible for uploading everything, which was
Right.
consuming. But the problem with the chat for the shows that we did, especially initially, we were not allowed to interact with people. We had to wait till they wanted to chat with us.
I see.
Salespeople just hanging there, salivating.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I would say, if I were to do another virtual show, I would want to be able to engage with the person that I see, because you could see who was, Margie Butcher-Galoob was in my booth. Margie would not, I had to say, "Hey, Margie, would you like to talk?" Margie was busy looking at stuff, so she didn't engage. And it was very frustrating to not be able
Yes.
"Hi, Margie," and have her respond.
Because we noticed that with the show that we attended is you would be in a booth for a few seconds and a chat window would pop up. So I wonder where that comes into play from the show management side.
We had to wait for permission from the person we were trying to engage for them to accept the chat. And 2 of the booths were like that, and it was very frustrating.
Imagine.
People were in our booth for like 45 minutes, and we're like, we could see them looking at things, but we had to wait for their permission to engage in the chat. And this was a show I did early, 2 shows I did very early on in the pandemic. So I think maybe permissions and the kinks hadn't been worked out yet, but that was a frustrating part. If I were to engage in another show like this, I would insist on having some sort of way to reach out to Margie Butcher-Galoob and get her engaged with me.
I have a question. in the shows, and anyone who participated or has participated either as an exhibitor or just a visitor, when you entered the space, if as a visitor, if you entered a space, do you know if your profile was immediately visible to the trade show exhibitor, and vice versa? If you were an exhibitor and someone entered your space, was their profile readily available to you?
In my case, yes, I could see them and they could see the folks who were available to them.
And you could see who they were, the person?
Yes.
You could, okay.
Yeah, so I was, when I realized that I couldn't engage them, I was feverishly making notes on my, about who it was so that my sales team could follow up with them.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
shows.
Francine.
Yes.
Hi, it's Lori. So
Yes.
interesting, JAUSA actually is engaging with VFairs to use
Yes.
this platform for our JA Inspire program, which is a career exploration program for middle school students and high school students.
Mm-hmm.
You know, rather than what we did live a year ago where we had vendors, you know, at the Buffalo Niagara Convention Center talking to students about jobs and what they do. Because of the situation, they've engaged with VFairs on this for student events. So I just think it's, you know, you're here talking with adult trade people that are doing it for a totally different reason.
Right.
Looking at it as a way to engage students in an educational experience. So I'm interested to hear the comments. We are not going to try it this year. We're going to let the other areas do it and see how successful it is, because there's a, you know, a cost involved.
Right. Right.
Good, but I just find that interesting. So it's definitely a platform that can be used.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on this approach here? Any comments? Okay, Bill, let's go to women in exhibition
In
then.
different ways.
Okay. Our next example.
I just have a general question. So
Sure.
who like designs the landing pages? Is that like our responsibility to design them, or do we work with the, like for example, the virtual Small Business Expo? Do they help us with that?
Well, they provide you 2 or 3 like cookie cutter type of displays, and it tells you where to put your logo, it tells you where to put your video, and that's where we can come in and help people do that. So that was one of the things that we were going to talk about, well, at least discuss a little bit, that it's very time consuming. So it becomes almost like designing a display, which you don't have time to do because of what you're doing in your company. And that's why when people hire us to design real built display, we can help clients design or at least populate the landing page in a more glamorous way, and or if they have a virtual exhibit, that we can, you know, help them design and make the virtual exhibit inviting and functional.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Next
Pulling
one.
up our next example. This is an example of more of a custom virtual exhibit. This is something we would create for you for use at your events. We would work with you and your show management to embed this in whatever platform they are offering to drive people here. And
Can you?
benefit to stuff like this is you get more interaction. You can have what we call hotspots, buttons around your booth space, your virtual exhibit, which pull up different features, whether they be videos, they be links to social media, contact forms, chat boxes. Really, there are a lot of features integrated in here.
And Bill, the young person who's standing there,
Hmm.
Yes. When you click on her, she just says, welcome to your virtual experience. Yes.
I have the sound turned off at the moment, but there
Okay.
is.
Let's see.
Empowering women to reach their full potential in the exhibit and event industry. We believe that women are the creative and social force of our industry, and we are passionate about cultivating actions that lead to greater levels of leadership and opportunity for our members. We welcome all women in the exhibit.
As you can see, stuff
Yeah.
like this gives you a more personal, unique touch. Because in virtual trade shows, it's hard to separate yourself from the pack. You're more creating an experience. You know, you want people to stay at your space to soak up your information. You have to entertain them in a way.
Yes, you do. And you notice, I can't remember, in the small business platform, did they actually have figures, people in there, or it was just?
They did. They
They
had
did, yes. that's right.
representations of people throughout the
Representation.
booth.
And we've talked to a lot of people, and everyone feels that when you actually see a representation in the virtual booth, it makes it much more inviting, as opposed to just having a booth there with hotspots. So that was one of the things that was discussed, and that's something to keep in mind. Any questions, any comments on this?
I have a question. So could you make that figure like the president of your company, or is it just like a template of a person?
Yeah, we could make that to be anybody you wish.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
We've heard of clients doing that, is they've put their own receptionist in front of their booth.
Oh, wow.
You know,
President.
even someone who wouldn't necessarily go to a show, but someone people
Mhm.
might know from.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
Okay. So, and this is one level, and one level of price also. And I mean, we don't want to go into details about pricing, but this is probably close to the lower tier of virtual exhibits. Yes.
One thing to keep in mind with virtual exhibits like this, it's not really size or space anymore that makes a difference in cost. It's features and functionality. You know, here you have a message, you have a video, you have a place to sign up for meetings. Where, you know, more expensive options are the chat, our live video, just
Google
a great
Analytics, Google Analytics, if you
Right.
can put that in, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at the next one.
Okay. Next one here.
This is the much higher end. There
This
is
is more the-
something in between, but this is very high end.
Everything in the kitchen sink. You know, you have your own personal chat box here. You know, this is something that'll be run by yourself, so you can, you know, pop up. You can interact with people as they come into your space. You know, you have spots to move around the booth. You can still pan around and look. You can click on items, learn more about products. You can drive interaction with phones, with other things. You can play videos. It really gives you a whole suite of options. Drive around the space. They all have, you know, the bigger the booth, more something like this is necessary, where you have a map so people can jump between spots. Like here, you get another video learning about more products. Even information for contact posters. Something which helps here, you can see, is they give you a tutorial how to use it in case people need to know. And then something similar to the landing pages, you get a spot for all the PDFs people can access.
Bill, keep this on, and I want to share something about this particular booth. This was done very early in the pandemic when one of the largest health trade shows was canceled or went virtual back in March or April. And the show organizer was reluctant in letting this client embed the link to their web-hosted trade show display. So the reason I'm saying this is that there are some trade show organizers who are still not comfortable with letting exhibitors have a link to a web-hosted virtual display. One of the reasons is that they're concerned that the attendees will not come back to the show. They'll stay there and then just disappear. So if you're thinking of going this route, big or small, is you have to make arrangements with the show organizers that there's going to be something on your web-hosted virtual display that will not allow the attendee to just not return to the rest of the show. And that helps to convince the show organizers to let you have your own web-hosted virtual display.
And even to continue on something Darlene mentioned about having that function where the chat, you can interact, you can initiate it. We've heard a lot of stories where people have gone to their show provider and with a list of things they'd like to have. You know, the show management, they're figuring out these virtual displays, these virtual shows as much as you are as an exhibitor. You know, so if they know what you're looking for, what you want, they may be able to provide it to you.
Yes. Okay, so this is the high-end, very high-end form of a virtual display. And now we have something else to show you. Are you going to show Deckle, Bill? Is that the next one?
Yes.
Yes. And we had talked about clients setting up their own display in their warehouse, in their conference room, in their office, and providing a service so that at the if you are doing a virtual show, there is a link going back to your actual display where people are standing in front of it and talking to the attendees or being on the video. So that's something that we're working on, that we're starting to offer clients instead of going through the designing and creating a virtual display, which is fairly expensive, although the advantage of this virtual display is that you can use it forever. You can use it on webinars, you can use it at sales conference, you can use it with a client if you have a Zoom meeting with a client, and the contents can be changed very easily once the hotspots are created. So there's multiple advantages to that, but not everyone is willing to spend the money up front. So if you do have your own display that can be set up and that you can actually work the show from your own display, that's also an option that we're working on. So this is the next step.
Another option we'll show you. This is using almost VR software. Okay, so what this does, this uses an AR camera to capture a space, an existing space, whether this is your office, whether this is a trade show display you have, whether this is a job site application.
Your manufacturing plant, anything that you want to feature.
And it creates a photorealistic space that you can move through. You can see all these touch points around. They pull up interaction points, information on products in this case. They can pull up videos. You could have spots for people to sign up for a newsletter or what have you. But this creates more of a unique It's an experience for people that will set you apart from your cookie cutter landing pages. And something like this offers a lot of possibilities. The next example I'll show from this, you can really do anything, is people captured a piece of equipment they have. Bring people around, show them specific details they have. Get to maybe something you wouldn't be able to do at a traditional trade show regardless.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. All right, everyone. Oh, hi, Todd. Nice to see you. So any comments on what you've just seen? Anyone? Any questions?
The 3D.
Tell us who you are, Todd. Tell us who you are.
Canty, JM Canty. We're engineering equipment company. That last graphic, was it a graphic or a photo?
It was a photo. So this is taken with a special camera, which can be as simple as an iPhone. They capture a space and create an interactive virtual environment for people.
Nice, really nice.
And Bill, could you go back to the actual, the other one just before that?
Sure.
The space, as opposed to a virtual display. So again, this is an actual space.
Right. This is an actual showroom that exists for this client.
And they're using it as their trade show display, as opposed to creating a web-based design.
With this approach, with the 3D approach, they're all materials, like Francine said, you can use over and over again for all of your shows. There is significant talk that depending on your market, depending on the show type, hybrid will be here to exist. You know, this is a way for the show providers to capture a different audience. And at some point you'll want to try and engage those people. And having something like this set up now is something you can use in the future.
I'm sorry, I joined late. The circles are further entry into things on that?
Yep. Like I say here, you can click, get more information on individual products. You can see circles on the ground, which help you navigate throughout.
Bill, I need to be excused for 1 second. Maybe you could go over Canon and Women in Exhibition really quickly for Todd and others again and show different things. I'll be right back.
Sure.
And sorry about that, Bill. And because I haven't seen this on or noticed it on other websites. This is really new and neat feature.
Yeah, this is a technology that was really, it's been used more for real estate, but people are realizing you can adapt it to so much more. You know, when I recently sold my house, we used this to do a virtual tour of our property.
Yeah.
Really has a lot of potential.
Wow,
Something else we had talked about is more of creating an actual virtual display like people are more familiar with. So I can pull that back up for you, just so you can see. So something like this looks more like a traditional trade show booth, but you can still maneuver around it, interact with it. It gives people a sense of familiarity. And you can also mirror, say in the future, you have this exhibit physically at the trade show versus people at home are also getting the same experience. Let's see, close-up videos.
Now the services that you offer, what components in this whole arena are you offering? And I apologize for backtracking.
Really, we can help you put together any of these, solutions we're talking about. As far as we can show up on your site with a camera, with a photographer, record a space, like we showed in the last example, or we can help you build a 3D model, populate it with your information like you see here.
Excellent.
And even something we can do on the low end is if you're just going to a show, want to do the basic offerings of your landing page, we can help you optimize that. You can give us all the material. We can figure out the best way to showcase that on the show provided site.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. Because I've been to a couple of virtual trade shows and they've been very static.
Yes. Yes.
And this is extremely dynamic and worth doing. It's impressive.
Right. Because one of our mottos has always been you have 3 seconds to make an impact at a trade show. At a virtual show, you almost have less. It's the first person someone's landed on your page you have to catch for their attention, whether it's to give them something exciting to do or if it's immediately addressing a problem they have. You can't just, here's our company overview. You're going to lose people that way. You need to say, this is why you should talk to us.
And you really have to glamorize the experience, really glam it up as much as you possibly can, and have a message that's crafted, that I said earlier, that will cut through the clutter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what you missed, but this has been recorded, Todd, so we'll send you the recording. Everybody's going to get a recording so that they can listen again. But it's a challenging world for all of us, and we're learning as we go along, like you are too, but we're trying to provide services and information and education to our clients so that their trade show experience is much more valuable and they get a much better return on their investment. So it's been interesting, to say the least, going through all of this. Does anybody have any comments or questions or anything they'd like to share based on their experiences, and any comments about what you saw? We're already at 1 hour, so it's anyone? No?
Good.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you don't mind, we're going to put up just a little town hall review here, and just want to know your impression of what you learned today and what you think, and any comments you'll have to go, we can't put it on there, but we're willing to listen or to hear anything you have to share with us, you want to share with us.
Like we do for real trade show exhibits, we have a wide range of services that we can tailor to whatever you need, big or small. We're here to help.
Francine and Bill, my digital marketing specialist, Ruby.
Yes.
She's young and hip and happening. So she's been delving into a lot of digital tools and things, and she's coming up with some ideas that sound exciting. So I'm thinking after the first of the year, when I know my budget, I'd like to sit down with one or both of you and kind of go over some of the things she's coming up with and see if they're doable. It's one of the things where she has the idea, but we don't know how to get there from here. And I'm thinking you both would know how to help us do that.
That would be great.
We can certainly help.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you.
I like hiring young, hip and happening people.
Well, that's who we are.
Yes, we are.
Everyone, thank you, Todd and Darlene and Jamie and Laura and Margaret and Michelle. Thank you so much for attending this, our first town hall virtual meeting. And we welcome comments and also subjects that you would like to discuss. And we will do this another time again. Anything you'd like to share before you go?
Thank you so much. This is very informative.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
to
you.
meet you
Nice to meet
virtually,
you too.
Jamie.
Yep. Nice to
Okay.
meet you.
Have a good
And
day.
you will get a recording of this meeting to go over it and look at the images again. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Enjoy yourself. Nice
You
to
too.
see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.